Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's first video. We're doing the second spring 2020-21 update for today's first video. So we started spring updates last Sunday. We're going to be doing spring updates every Sunday from now through to the end of February, and then on Sunday, 28th of February, last day of February, last day of meteorological winter as well, we will be releasing the GavsWeatherVids.com spring 2021 forecast. So there's plenty more updates to go, but this one is going to be focusing on more December data. So last week we looked at the CT and December CT and spring data. This week we're looking at December England and Wales precipitation and spring data. I shall get on with that for you very shortly. Just to say that it's going to be a very, very interesting day at GavsWeatherVids today. After this video, I'm going to be releasing GavsWeatherVids Sunny Roundup. I've got an interview around 12 on BCWM, so if you can tune into that, you'll hear me on the radio in West Midlands around 12, and we'll be live streaming at 6 o'clock. Now, we could potentially be hitting 10k subscribers for our channel today, Sunday 17th of January 2021. So it could be a very, very, very sort of a historic day for GavsWeatherVids. And so if we do hit 10k, I think we may do this today. If we do hit 10k, then we're going to give away a £50 Amazon voucher in the live stream at 6 o'clock. So we'll see what happens, but we will definitely 100% be live streaming at 6 o'clock, and I reckon there's a reasonable chance that we'll hit 10k subscribers today, which is a remarkable milestone. There's also going to be a post appearing later on this afternoon, I think, probably around 3-4ish, on Terry Scully's page. Terry's got a very, very interesting post that we're going to be releasing at the website, GavsWeatherVids.com, on Terry's page today, looking at Lunar Assist. We'll be looking at Lunar Assist, or Terry will be, and explaining what Lunar Assist is, how Lunar Assist works, and why he uses Lunar Assist in his forecast. So if you've been wondering about that, it's something that featured in the winter forecast, and if you've been wondering about Lunar Assist, then just wait until the post is published on Terry Scully's page at GavsWeatherVids.com, probably around 3-4ish this afternoon, I would have thought. So busy old day, and potentially a historic day for GavsWeatherVids as well. Thank you so much to Richard for the incredible and amazing spring updates GIF. I love that GIF. I love this GIF. The cute little bunny. I love the cute little bunny. So thank you so much, Rich, for the remarkable spring 2021 updates GIF. Everybody has fallen in love already. We're only 2 weeks in, but everybody's fallen in love already with the little bunny. So thank you so much, Rich, for that. It's one of your best, my friend. So thank you so much. Also, thank you to Shryan, my good friend Shryan Brown, for sorting out all of the years for this update. So thank you so much, Shryan. Right, so I'm going to explain. So England and Wales precipitation for December 2021, December 2020, I should say, came out at 159.2 millimeters, which does actually place December 2020 in the top 20 wettest Decembers on record. You know, it's in there, we're in the top 20. And so that makes it very, very simple for this update. So very simply, we're going to be looking at springs following the top 20 wettest Decembers. And here we go. It's going to be very simple, this. So we start off with number 20, spring 2001. This is quite a cold and wet spring. This is quite a cold and wet spring with low pressure in off the Atlantic. There's a bit of northern blocking as well with this spring. High pressure to the south. Has quite a cold and wet and at times quite wintry March and April in 2001. Although May 2001 was a warmer and drier month, but overall at number 20, 2001, quite a cold, wet sort of spring. At number 19, we've got the spring of 1887. This one also has quite a cold spring as well. This one has low pressure across much of northern and western Europe. High pressure is pushed out into the North Atlantic and up towards Greenland, and so we'd be pulling in quite a cold north to northeasterly wind in the spring of 1887. Quite a cold spring, that one. Number 18, we've got the spring of 2016, following like the 18th wettest December, I suppose. This one has quite a lot of northern blocking as well. It's not really remembered as a cold spring, but it does have a very cold interlude during April of 2016. Low pressure is pushed southwards, and we bring in light wind from a northerly and easterly direction. So it has quite a cold April, or quite a cold spell in April of 2016 anyway. Number 17, we've got spring of 1920, following the 17th wettest December. And this one has high pressure to our south and east, but a lot of low pressure to the west. This is a very wet spring, following on from a wet winter, with low pressure in from off the Atlantic, bringing plenty of rain. Number 16, we've got the spring of 2003. This is a warm, dry spring. This is setting up a summer pattern. You know, we have a hot summer in 2003. The pattern for that summer does actually begin in the spring of 2003 with high pressure across much of northern central Europe and bring up those southerly winds. That continues, of course, into the summer and culminates in an incredibly hot spell in August of 2003. But it also starts kicking off, and the first signs of the pattern of the summer actually begin as early as March, maybe even February 2003. So that's a warm, dry spring, following on from the 16th wettest December, which of course was December 2002. Number 15, we've got spring of 1990. This is another warm, dry spring, setting up a very warm summer pattern. This one with lots of high pressure across many central and western parts of Europe, low pressure, and the jet stream being pushed northwards. So again, we're drawing up like quite warm winds through much of this spring from the south. It's a warm, dry spring, and it sets up again a hot summer and a particularly hot August once again in 1990, of course. Number 14, we've got 1980. So this one is a cooler, wetter spring with higher pressure to the north within the north latitudes, lower pressure across many southern and eastern parts of Europe. Winds are easy. It's a very easterly spring, I think, and gets very thundery as well, I think, by May of 1980. Very thundery spring, or very thundery May in 1980. At number 13, we have December 2020. And so this, of course, is a spring of 2021. And we do not know what the spring of 2021 has in store, do we? Because we are doing updates and we are going to release a forecast for the spring, but we do not yet know. So questions. Thank you, Shryan. Number 12, we've got the spring of 1960, following on from the 12th wettest December in 1959. This one is an anticyclonic spring, and a mild spring as well, very mild spring, with winds generally from an easterly direction or from a southerly direction. Low pressure is pushed out in the Atlantic, so that's a dry, warm spring in 1960. Number 11, we've got 1912. This was a much more unsettled spring. Not particularly cold, but it is unsettled with low pressure in of the Atlantic, high pressure to the south, and just quite a westerly, sort of relatively unsettled type spring in 1912. At number 10, we've got 1994, following on from the 10th wettest December, which was in 1993. Of course, this spring is unsettled with low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south, and income the westerly. So this is a westerly Atlantic-driven spring. Relatively mild, quite a warmish sort of spring, although it does have a potent cold snap. I remember it well. It's a potent cold snap in April 1994. Right, we're top 10 now. So at number 9, we've got the spring of 1979, following on, of course, from the 9th wettest December, which was in 1978. This is a cold and wet spring with low pressure across much of Western Europe. Notice the blocking is still there around Greenland and up into the Arctic. So, of course, this follows a very, very cold and snowy winter in 1979. And very often, when you get a very cold winter, the pattern of that winter will carry on into the spring. So this is just a continuation of the spring pattern, really cold and wet, and there was regular bouts of snow, particularly the early spring, but even into the late spring, actually, of 1979, even into May 1979, you know, we were still having northerly winds and snowy outbreaks, particularly so for the northern half of the country. At number 8, we've got the spring of 1966. This one is a rather wet spring with low pressure in off the Atlantic, high pressure down towards Spain. Winds are in from the west, so that's a relatively mild but also quite wet spring in 1966. At number 7, we've got the spring of 2013. This contains an extremely cold March. Notice all the northern blocking. So March to early April is extremely cold. And then later April into May it gets milder, but generally this is a cold spring, colder than average spring. And yeah, all 3 spring months are below average, with winds generally coming in from the north and from the northeast in 2013. I think that is our last sort of notably cold spring in 2013. At number 6, we've got the spring of 1930, following the 6th wettest December in 1929. So this one, again, unsettled, low pressure across Western Europe combined with northern blocking. So that could be quite a wet and potentially quite cool spring, maybe a relatively cold spring as well in 1930. Number 5, we've got the spring of 1935. This one is a drier season with high pressure to our north, winds generally coming in from an easterly direction. That's a rather drier spring in 1935. Number 4, we come to the end with these years. We've got the spring of 1916, following on, of course, from the 4th wettest December, which was December 1915. This one, this spring is quite an unsettled spring as well. It is combined with some high pressure up towards Greenland, jet streams on a southerly track, quite a cold, wet spring in 1916. Number 3, top 3 now. We've got the spring of 1869. This one is a cold spring, following on from the mildest winter on record for winter 1868-1869, with high pressure up towards the northwest, low pressure to our east-southeast, of winds generally in from an east or northeast direction. That's quite a cold spring, following on for an exceptionally mild winter, record-breakingly mild winter. Number 2, we've got the spring of 1915, following on from the 2nd wettest December, which is 1914. This one is quite a cold, unsettled spring as well. This one has high pressure in mid-Atlantic going up towards Greenland, low pressure over Scandinavia. Winds again are in from a northerly direction, so cold and unsettled for spring of 1915. And then finally, lastly, the wettest December for England and Wales precipitation is the December of 1876. So number 1, we've got spring 1877, and it looks like the deluge goes on. That exceptionally wet December in 1876 looks like it's still going on into the spring, with just a massive trough of low pressure across north and west Europe. There is some northern blocking, but I don't think it would be a particularly cold spring. I think the main thing with this is that it would be very, 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 very wet, of course, under that deep trough of low pressure. We could be bringing in some northerlies at times, though, but the main thing with that spring is that it would be a very, very wet spring with such a deep trough of low pressure across virtually swamping the whole of Europe, to be honest. So obviously very, very unsettled season. Right, let's put all of that together then. So this is how all Marches combined are looking following the top 20 wettest Decembers. And there is a bit of wintry potential with this, actually, with high pressure blocking towards Greenland, low pressure being pushed southwards, jet streams being pushed southwards as well. And you could see us pulling in like cold winds from the east and from the north. Remember, spring is transitional season, so March with that that sort of pattern, you know, could be quite cold. But in May, that wouldn't be overly cold, but it would be very unsettled still in May, of course. This is how all Aprils combined are looking, following the top 20 wettest Decembers. Generally unsettled, low pressure is across much of Western Europe. It's nowhere near as much cold potential with this. In fact, it could be quite mild. It could be quite a mild month. But definitely showery. Definitely classic sort of April showers type weather. And then all Mays combined are looking like that. It's still generally quite unsettled, really, with all Mays combined. Again, low pressure across much of northern and western Europe. High pressures down towards the southwest, but not really able to influence us that much. So quite unsettled for all three spring months. And all springs combined, following the top 20 wettest Decembers on record, look like that. So we're unsettled with low pressure across northern West Europe. There is northern block. That's primarily down to what happens in March, though. So I think we can say there is some cold and wintry potential for the Marches, and then just generally quite unsettled, really, for the rest of the springs. If we narrow things down to just the years after 1950, so this is how all Marches combined are looking, following the top 20 wettest Decembers post 1950. We look like this. So we still have the northern blocking signal, maybe slightly reduced, but it's still there. Low pressure is underneath it, so I reckon there is still wintry potential with that for those Marches, really. We could still be pulling in some quite cold air at times via the northern blocking. Makes very little difference for all Aprils combined. It's a very similar pattern, whether we look at the whole suite of analogues or whether we just narrow it down post 1950. Just generally quite unsettled across Western Europe. Maybe slightly cooler potentially, if anything. We might be slightly on the colder side of the jet stream with that, but I think overall just quite unsettled really with those Aprils. And then all Mays combined, looking at the top 20 wettest Decembers, or following the top 20 wettest Decembers post 1950, looks a little bit more anti-cyclone. Looks like we get some higher pressure to our northeast and also to our southwest. Looks like lower pressure is being pushed away to the northwest. So these Mays might have a little bit more potential to be a little bit drier and warmer, and you know, more sort of easterly, which is very typical of May. May is the most easterly month of all months through the year. And just perhaps slightly drier and warmer potential for the all Mays combined. And lastly, this is how all springs combined are looking, following the top 20 wettest Decembers on record post 1950. It's unsettled overall with these springs, low pressure in off the Atlantic. There is a little bit of northern blocking as well. So yeah, unsettled springs favoured, but maybe with something a little bit better when we get through to May. And with both sets of analogues, you know, the full set and also the post 1950 set, there is a bit of cold potential in March. Right, that's it for the second spring 2021 update. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed Richard's lovely bunny gift, then please can you smash the like button and let us know in the comments what you think about the little bunny. I love little bunny. Let us know in the comments what you think about all of this. And I have still got to get the spring updates up in the spring forecast page created at website, actually. I won't be doing that today, but I will get that done this week. And then the first and second updates will be placed on the spring updates page. I'm very, very behind with this. Very, very behind. But I will get it done in the next few days. And so the first and the second spring 2021 updates will be placed on the spring updates page with a written summary, and that will be that created in the next day or two. Won't be today because I'm very busy today, but in the next 2 or 3 days I'll get that done at the website. Right, that's it then. So we're going to be back later on with GavsWeatherVids Sunny Roundup. Don't forget, check out Terry's page this afternoon for that post on Lunar Assist. And then we're going to be live streaming at 6 o'clock. Will we hit 10k? Will we do a 10k subscribers live stream special giveaway / it's all happening type thing? At 6 o'clock, you will find out if we're going to do it. If we're going to do it at 6 o'clock. So I shall see you then, but before then we've got GavsWeatherVids Sunday Roundup. So keep checking back to it all. That's all for now though, and thanks for watching.